Hello everyone. In our today's video, we are going to be discussing about mitochondria and respiration. Mitochondria is a very important membrane-bound cell organelle. You must have studied in your lower classes about a lot of membrane-bound cell organelles. But mitochondria is very important because it is going to play a role in respiration. Okay? The word mitochondria was derived from Greek. Mito means thread and chondria means granules. So when we observe the mitochondria under the microscope, so it is going to look like as if there are thread, and inside it is going to look like there are going to be granules. So what is the meaning of granules? Granules are nothing but grain-like structures. Okay. So the mitochondria was first discovered by a person called Cellular in the year 1857, and he discovered mitochondria in the striated muscles. So he was a physiologist. Alright. So mitochondria is also called as the powerhouse of the cell, or it is also called as the ATP factory of the cell. Okay. So why is it called powerhouse of the cell? The reason why mitochondria is called as the powerhouse of the cell is because it is going to produce energy to the cells. That is why it is called as the powerhouse. So every cell which is there in our body needs energy, right? So mitochondria is only going to give the cell its energy which it needs. And then why is it called as the ATP factory? The reason why it is called as ATP factory is because it is going to produce energy in the form of ATP molecules. Okay. So what is this ATP molecule? This is adenosine triphosphate. So as mitochondria is producing energy in the form of ATP molecules, it is therefore known as the ATP factory of the cell. Now let's go on to the structure of the mitochondria. Mitochondria is a membrane-bound cell organelle, as I told you already. So what is the meaning of membrane-bound cell organelle? It is going to be having membrane around it. So it has two membranes. One is the outer mitochondrial membrane, and then the next is the inner mitochondrial membrane. Okay, so there are two membranes, the outer mitochondrial membrane and then the inner mitochondrial membrane. So what I am drawing right now is actually the inner membrane. Okay. So the outer mitochondrial membrane is actually permeable. So what is the meaning of permeable? Permeable means it is going to allow small molecules to pass through it. And the outer mitochondrial membrane is smooth. So the outer mitochondrial membrane is smooth and permeable. So what is the meaning of permeable? I just told you, it is going to allow small molecules to pass through it. Apart from this, the outer membrane also consists of porin molecules. So what is the meaning of this porin? Porin means proteins. So these are actually protein molecules which are actually going to act like a channel. Okay, so that small amount of molecules can pass through the outer membrane into the mitochondria. Okay, the next is the inner membrane. The inner membrane is a semi-permeable membrane. So the outer membrane is permeable and the inner membrane is semi-permeable. So what is the meaning of semi-permeable? Semi-permeable means it is not going to allow everything to pass through it, but the inner mitochondrial membrane is going to allow only certain substances to pass through it. Alright. So that is why it is known as a semi-permeable membrane. Okay. So the inner mitochondrial membrane, as you can see here, is actually folded and it is giving rise to finger-like projections. So you can see here, right? So it's giving rise to finger-like projections which are known as cristae. So cristae increases the surface area inside the mitochondria to hold more amount of enzymes. So there are a lot of enzymes which are present inside the mitochondria. So what is the work of these enzymes? These enzymes are going to help in the production of the ATP molecules. Alright. And then inside the mitochondrial membrane there is actually a space. So this space which is present inside the mitochondria is called as the matrix. Okay. So this matrix consists of a lot of enzymes. It consists of its own DNA. It has the ribosomes. Okay. So all this is going to be there inside this. So what is this work of the ribosomes? The work of ribosomes is to help in protein synthesis. And mitochondria is a very important cell organelle which consists of its own DNA. Apart from this, chloroplast also consists of its own DNA. You know what is the work of chloroplast as well. It plays a very important role in photosynthesis, and mitochondria plays a very important role in respiration. Alright. So I hope you understood the structure of mitochondria. One more we have to discuss, which are the oxysomes. So I'll draw oxysomes here. So oxysomes are also called as F1 particles. So this is present inner to the mitochondrial membrane. And these oxysomes are tennis racket shaped minute structures. So these are looking like a tennis racket. So it's a tennis racket shaped minute structure. And the work of the oxysome is to help in ATP synthesis. Okay. So oxysomes, where are they present? They are present inner to the mitochondria, and these are minute structures and they are looking like a tennis racket. Okay. And the main work of this oxysome is to help in ATP synthesis. This is very important question from your exam point of view. Alright. Now let's go on to what is respiration. Respiration. There are two types of respiration. One is external respiration and the other one is internal respiration. First I will tell you about what is external respiration. So in case of external respiration, here there is going to be an interaction between the environment and the body cells. Okay, so there is going to be gaseous exchange between the environment and the body cells. So during breathing, what do? We take in oxygen from the environment and we give out carbon dioxide back into the environment. Okay, so there is an interaction between our body and then the environment. So that type of respiration is called as external respiration. Alright, and external respiration involves breathing. Talking about internal respiration, here there is not going to be any interaction between the environment and the body cells. But internal, what's the meaning of internal? Internal means inside or within. So here in case of internal respiration, the process is going to happen only within the cells which are there in our body. So as this respiration is happening only inside our body or only inside our cells, it is therefore called as cellular respiration. Okay, so why is it called cellular respiration? Because it is happening only within the cells which are there in our body. So it is therefore called as cellular respiration. So there are two types of cellular respiration. One is aerobic respiration and the other one is anaerobic respiration. First I will tell you what is respiration. After that we will go on to discuss about what is aerobic and what is anaerobic. So what is respiration? So during respiration, the glucose is going to be broken down in order to release energy. So what is happening during respiration? The glucose is going to get broken down in order to release energy. So from where do we get the glucose? We get the glucose from the food which we eat. And this glucose should not be just like that there in the body. Instead, it has to get converted into energy, because as I told you already, every cell needs energy, right? So the process by which the glucose is broken down in order to release energy is only known as respiration. Alright. So now I will tell you what is aerobic respiration and what is anaerobic respiration. So first let's talk about aerobic respiration. So in case of aerobic respiration, glucose is going to be broken down in the presence of oxygen. Glucose, this is the chemical formula of glucose. Glucose is going to get broken down in the presence of oxygen. Okay, so glucose is getting broken down in order to release energy in the presence of oxygen. So this is only known as aerobic respiration. Okay, so as you can see here, energy is released, and what is this carbon dioxide and water getting released for? It is nothing but these are the byproducts of aerobic respiration. Okay, so when the glucose is getting broken down, carbon dioxide and water will be eliminated as byproducts. Okay, so during aerobic respiration, glucose is getting broken down in the presence of oxygen to produce energy, and the byproducts are carbon dioxide and water. Alright, so this is aerobic respiration. Okay, so where will aerobic respiration take place? Aerobic respiration will take place in case of higher organisms. Alright, now let's go on with anaerobic respiration. So what is going to happen during anaerobic respiration? So during anaerobic respiration, the same glucose molecule is going to get broken down, but now it is going to be in the absence of oxygen. Okay, so this is going to take place in the absence of oxygen. So what is going to happen is glucose will get broken down in the absence of oxygen in order to release energy. Okay, so the byproducts here is going to be different. Here it is going to be ethanol. Okay, so ethanol will get released. Okay, so what is ethanol? Ethanol will get released during anaerobic respiration in case of yeast. Okay, so I hope you know what is yeast. Yeast is a fungi. So it undergoes anaerobic respiration. Okay, so and even carbon dioxide can also be released. Alright, so during anaerobic respiration, what is happening? The glucose molecule is getting broken down in the absence of oxygen in order to release energy, and the byproduct here is going to be ethanol, carbon dioxide. Okay, lactic acid could also be an byproduct of anaerobic respiration. So anaerobic respiration will take place in case of lower organism. So the example that I have given here is yeast, which is a fungi. One more example I will give you, which is ascaris. So ascaris is a worm. Okay, so these two examples you can write when they ask you about anaerobic respiration. And more amount of energy is actually released during aerobic respiration when compared to anaerobic respiration. Alright, so I hope you understood what is aerobic and what is anaerobic respiration. Now let's take a look at the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. The first difference is aerobic respiration is taking place in the presence of oxygen. Okay, and anaerobic respiration is taking place in the absence of oxygen. The second difference is, in case of aerobic respiration, glucose is going to be completely oxidized, and in case of anaerobic respiration, glucose is going to be incompletely oxidized. The third difference is, more amount of energy is released during aerobic respiration, and in case of anaerobic respiration, less amount of energy is going to be released. The fourth difference is, in case of aerobic respiration, the byproducts are carbon dioxide and water. In case of anaerobic respiration, the byproducts are ethanol, lactic acid and carbon dioxide. The last difference is that aerobic respiration will take place in higher organisms and anaerobic respiration will take place in the lower organism. Alright, so I hope you understood what is the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration, and also what is external and what is internal respiration. Now